Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 220 of Dude and the Monkey. I am one of your co-hosts, Mark Foster, and as ever, I am joined by a year older.
Hello, Ian Loring, hello.
Those who don't know, I've just wished Ian happy birthday. It's his birthday last Tuesday, so yesterday. So how old are you now, Ian? 42?
33, thanks.
You're still fucking 2 years younger than me, mate.
Well,
I'm currently 34. I'm just not far off 35, which is depressing. I actually had a conversation about it with people at work the other day, and they were asking me how old I was, and I mentioned that I was coming up to 35, and they said, "Oh, that's that's not even really that old anymore." And I was like, "It's kind of like it's verging on middle age, though, isn't it?" And I'm like, maybe. And I thought, like, right. Well, when I think about it, I think if I've got 35 years more to go, that just seems like a lot of effort.
Do you know what? I was thinking about that the other day in terms of like retiring because of the industry I work in. I was thinking about how much my projected like pension pot's gonna last me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was like I've still got another 35 years of work in front of me, most likely.
Yeah.
And then hopefully I live 10 years past that, hopefully. And it's just like, it feels like a long time.
You've essentially got the entire time you've existed, plus a little bit, only like a fraction, but plus a tiny bit to go until you can, and hopefully you'll be able to take an early retirement. But there's a possibility that's a possibility that you might not, and that you get to that point, and it's staggering. I was thinking, I just don't reckon you're bothered.
It's a tangent already.
Yeah. Taking
early retirement will depend entirely on how my pension does. And the thing is, right, the growth rates that we use are mental, right? I'm projected to have a pot of around about, if everything goes okay, about 200 grand by the time I'm 68, right?
Yeah.
If it grows at a high rate, they reckon 800 grand. And It's like, how the fuck are you working that out? That makes, like, what projection system is our system using to get that? And the thing is, that's now. And frankly, I'm kind of going. I'm on an upward trajectory in terms of my workplace. So my contributions are probably going to go up. Once we finish paying off our mortgage, fuck man, it's going to be shoveling into my pension.
Yeah.
So it's like. So that's the thing, right? Even if it was like 500 grand, which would be amazing. 125 grand tax-free, awesome. 375 left, which means that I could take nearly 20 grand a year out of my pension, plus the state pension when it kicks in, and that would last me until like early 80s. I'll probably be dead by my early 80s. So, hey, anything that's left over with this option would be paid to Lottie, and if there's another one anyway. So, whatever, it's fine. But anyway, this has been an advertisement for pensions. You should have a pension, because then that's going to keep me in business. But also, you should have I'm not speaking as a representative for my employer, who I have never disclosed the name of publicly. But my point of view, my opinion, you should get yourself a pension.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be no fucking state pension or there's going to be fuck all when you're older.
It's something that you need to have, isn't it? And looking for employment, it's something that you should, when you're looking for a new job, it is certainly something you should consider is, what is their pension scheme? Because the job that Bex is currently leaving at the moment, one of the reasons why she's leaving is because the pension scheme is terrible.
Thing is, the minimum at the moment, this is changing next year, but the minimum an employer has to ask a colleague to pay into their pension and for them to match is 1%, right? 1%. So, yes, your employer pays into it as well, but 2% of your salary going into your pension, that's going to be worth fuck all.
Yeah.
Fuck all, unless you're, like, really well paid. Barclays, right? Barclays, just as a benefit for being with Barclays, will pay, without you paying into it at all, 10% of your pension in.
Jeez.
Yep. My employer will pay in 5% without you doing anything. But I pay in 5%. They match that 5% plus the non-contributory 5%. So I've got I've got 15% of my salary goes into my pension every month. You know, that's not too shabby. That's quite
good, that.
And I only pay 5%. That's the key thing.
Yeah.
You know, so. Yeah, seriously, when you're looking for employment, that's the kind of thing you should be looking at, genuinely.
Yeah.
And remember, if you pay in from your own bank account, the government will give you 20% tax relief. If you're under retirement age. It's a very, very good way of saving money, of investing money for the long run. Anyway, this has been an advertisement by...
Ian, right, anything happened in the film world in the past 7 days?
I'm looking forward to Noel's WhatsApp comments on this. Have we said what we were reviewing?
We haven't, no. Well, hello everybody. We got that tangent over and done with there. Well, when we last recorded, we said that we might be reviewing A Ghost Story, and then we said we might be reviewing Atomic Blonde, and we said we absolutely will not be reviewing Annabelle Creation because I didn't like the Annabelle film, so we won't be reviewing that. So, on episode 220, we are reviewing Annabelle Creation. This is because... being honest, Atomic Blonde, we had a conversation about this on WhatsApp, saying that it seems like it is frighteningly average.
No one's talking about it.
No one's talking about it at all, which means that it can't be that bad because people will be decrying it for being terrible, but it also can't be that good because people will be telling you every time you logged on. Now, I know people on Twitter are distracted at the moment, but still. So we're going to do Ghost Story, but I've had a stressful week, is what I'll say. Nothing terrible has happened, just been a generally stressful week. And I just felt like, actually, do you know what? After Ian's positive response to I don't want to say positive response, but positive response to the first one, and he seemed to, from what I gather, get on with Annabelle Creation. I thought, do you know what? That's better for me. I'm more in tune with going for that. I also had a look at the fact that it was directed by David S. Sandberg, who directed Lights Out, which I really quite enjoyed. So we went for that, which I'm quite glad we went for that, to be honest. Is he the guy who's directing the Shazam movie as well?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Is it? Yeah. So yeah, I actually really quite got on quite. Have you seen Lights Out? Did we
review it? I watched it in the cinema.
Yeah, well, I think we must have reviewed it then. Yeah, but yeah, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. So I was willing to give this a go. So we'll get into that. We'll do some what we've been watching, and we'll do some Peaks chat, and the usual sort of tangents, which you've already heard a little bit of there. Ian, trailers. Has there been any?
Let me have a quick look. I saw the trailer for The Ritual before Annabelle, which is a Rafe Spall starring horror film about a bunch of guys who, after the death of their mate, go on a walking trip in Sweden, I think it is, because he always wanted to do that or something. And then shit happens. And the tagline is, "They should have gone to Vegas."
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Which I'm a fan of. The trailer looks very generic, and it's like, what is Rafe Spall doing in this? So I'm kind of intrigued due to that, but, you know, we shall see. And the only other one that I saw was Molly's Game, the Aaron Sorkin written and directed film.
Yes, I saw that as well, yeah.
Which, you know, looks good, man. I'm up for Jessica Chastain fucking telling people where to go for an hour and a half or 2 hours. That'll do.
Yeah, absolutely up for that. I'm interested to see what Sorkin's like as a director as well.
Yes, yeah, no, the thing is, he's going to be meticulous. He's going to be very, very hands-on. I hope the direction is as playful as his screenwriting can be at times.
Yeah, that's it. Because he is quite. His screenwriting has a very definitive patter to it, but he's often written scripts for directors who are very much have a style of their own as well. So you kind of have those two things coming through. So it will be quite interesting to see where he kind of lands as a director, certainly, and it's a good cast as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I watched tonight because there just didn't seem to be anything.
No, not really. It's the quiet season.
It is indeed the quiet season. So, well, without further ado, we've got to that quite fucking quick, actually. Annabelle Creation. It's a sequel to the 2004. It's a prequel, isn't it? To the 2014 film Annabelle, which is a part of the Conjuring universe.
Love it.
From which we've had 2 films of, and we're going to get more. We're both quite big fans of The Conjuring, actually, aren't we?
I really like both films.
Yeah, I am the same. I really like both films. I wasn't as keen on Annabelle. I remember yourself and Noel actually joined us on that episode, I believe.
Yep.
And you both really got on with it quite well. So I think after I might go back to it at some point because, maybe I was just being a bit of a minge face when I watched it. So this one, it starts in 1945 as we see Samuel Mullins, played by Anthony LaPaglia, who is making a doll. He's making Annabelle the doll. And he's doll maker. Him and his wife have a young daughter called Bee, which we'll get into later on. Seem to have a fairly idyllic life in sort of 40s rural America. And then, what would you have it? She gets hit by a car, and then we fast forward to 12 years later, and Samuel Mullins is taking in a group of orphans and a nun, and his wife is bedridden now, but we don't actually get that backstory. We'll get more into sort of plot bits as we go along. I don't want to give too much away with it being a horror movie because we're going to give it away as we're talking about sort of pros and cons, etc., and what we thought of the actual movie. Ian, what did you think of Annabelle Creation?
Yeah, so I was bang up for this. I'd heard some good word going in, and it was my birthday film, so I was very, very, very up for it. 10:20 in the morning, big screen, fuck all people in there, lovely stuff, and. Yeah, I'm into the Conjuring cinematic universe. I love how, or the Conjuring extended universe, I think they're calling it. I love how they've basically come upon this almost by accident. Even though the first film has like that room full of all the like accoutrement from their past like missions or whatever, you never really thought, right, well, they're going to do this, they're going to do this, they're going to do this. The Conjuring was a one-off film that was supposed to be a fairly small film for Warner Brothers and kind of turned massive because of test screenings. So it despite the age of the extended universe, it does kind of feel like they've just happened upon it. And I mean, there's one moment in the film where it was a bit like, well, that's just weirdly setting something up there. But,
yeah.
But it was very odd.
I quite liked it, though.
Yeah, I was just a bit like, okay, well, I mean, let's just address that. So the nun in the photo, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, does everything within the Conjuring universe have to be connected to everything? Would be maybe my thing about that.
No, but, and I agree with you, yes. No, but it'd be nice if we got almost like a weird kind of fucking Avengers moment.
Sure. Yeah, no, sure, absolutely. But $15 million film, which looks like it cost more than $15 million. A good cinematographer and good production design and location can do an awful lot for a film.
Yeah.
I liked how it felt like an ensemble. Like, for the first half of the film, the one girl seems to be the lead, but then she gets possessed, essentially, and then you think Anthony LaPaglia is going to be the lead, and then bye-bye Anthony LaPaglia, and then it's kind of just like everybody else almost get like equal screen time, maybe a bit more for that little girl. But I liked how it kind of shifted perspective quite a bit. And I really, 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 really liked the last couple minutes. I thought that was great, and I didn't see that coming. Maybe I missed something. I kind of wish I watched the first Annabelle again before watching this, to be honest.
Yeah. I kind of remembered it.
So, like, just discussing that then. The girl who becomes possessed is actually the, like, member of the strange death cult.
Yeah.
Which killed their mum and dad at the start of Annabelle.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, I'm cool with that being connected because it is still the same evil, essentially. But yeah, I liked how that ended. It was almost like if you weren't up on your Annabelle history, that ending would have been like, what?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I liked that. So yeah, but I was very, very keen on it. I'm very intrigued to see what you think.
Yeah, well, I went into it. And going back, from the fact that I didn't get on Annabelle, but I really like the Conjuring movies. I know I've seen a trailer for Annabelle Creation, but I've totally forgotten it, or I might not have even watched one because of my displeasure at the first one. It's $15 million. That's crazy. It really is. It's top level horror, to be honest. Like properly good. Not just I was surprised at how good it was. It's a really, really, really good horror film. And I was quite taken with it, to be honest. I thought it's fucking tension all the way through, and where a lot of not just modern horror but horror in general has issues, and I think you could very much point this finger at both studio horror and independent horror. Because I think a lot of the time studio horror tends to get a bit of a bad rap, and I often think that actually studio horror can often be the better of those two kind of that double-sided coin.
Agreed.
And it's what tends to happen is with all horror, what you've got to do is you've got to start off strong. You've got to get people into that zone of being a little bit freaked out and a little bit scared. A little bit on edge, get the adrenaline pumping, and then you take people down again, and that's when you start building your story. And then what a lot of horror makes the mistake of doing is going up and then coming down again, and going up and then coming down again, because by the third time you go up, you're just fucking bored, and you can't even bother to go up because you're just waiting for the down, and then they fizzle out. What I thought Annabelle Creation did really well was it had the up, but I don't think the up was too. There was less less supernatural in the up at the start. It was very much more of a naturalistic kind of open. The horror was like a real life horror rather than a supernatural horror.
Sure, yeah.
And then it brings in, and it very quickly takes you to a certain place, and then just tries to hold you there constantly. And then at that point, you don't. It stops you from thinking, right, the big crescendo at the end's coming, because you've been kept at this level pretty much consistently throughout, through just giving you a few kind of like jumps and a few kind of like prods and a few kind of scares, but keeping this element of tension running all the way through. And I think that's handled very well with Anthony LaPaglia there, where they never give him a break moment. They never give him a moment of softness.
No, and that's the thing. Like, you are very unsure of him.
Yeah, and his wife as well.
Miranda Otto, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. It's unclear as to whether they've invited those girls there for them to essentially be picked off by Annabelle, or whether they are just like doing penance, as it turns out they actually are. And to be fair, I mean, like the Paglia, you're pretty unsure until the scene in which he's killed.
Yeah. Because he seems to have it seems to be both his idea to bring the girls there, but he doesn't like the idea that they're there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of moments where he does stuff and you think, is this going to be the moment where you get the softness coming out and they all start warming to him and he'll just sort of look at them and then just walk away.
Yes.
And that's it. And then the moment where you think you're going to get the bit of, him being the dad, he actually just fucking chews the girl out instead.
Yeah.
Which was brilliant. But also, well, you're right, it is very much an ensemble piece because you can't pick out which girl's going to be the focus.
Well, no, I mean
that again kind of adds to all that.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like there's a scare sequence with the one who's eventually possessed, and then there's a scare sequence with the little one, and then there's a scare sequence with the two older ones. The other girl doesn't really get much in that, to be fair. But yeah, that's the thing. It does kind of mix that stuff up, and I mean, like, I will say the kind of more straight up demony stuff at the end I wasn't as into. Like, it was intense, but I was preferring like the scene where the door keeps on opening and Annabelle's in there, and then she puts that sheet over Annabelle, and then Annabelle stands up.
Yeah.
Like, I actually audibly said, "Oh, fuck that!" Like, I was just like, nah, because I knew something was going to happen, and it was like I thought the door was going to, like, she was going to shut the door, open the door, it wasn't going to be there anymore, and then there was going to be a jump scare. But no, instead it's there. Oh fuck! It just stood up.
Yeah.
Like that. Just no. I don't like it. But it mixes up those scares. Like, there's a lot of different situations, and there's barely any scare which is just like a kind of a boo made you jump. It's not actually a supernatural thing. Like, after
no, they don't go for that. No. They're not. There's very few of the MacGuffins in it.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
it's all. It doesn't hide the demon until the end. It shows you it really fucking early, and then just keeps fucking showing you it, and keeps going, look, it's a demon, it's a dickhead. We're going to show you this demon, which I think the Conjuring series does quite consistently.
Yeah.
Where what it does is it says, no, these are films about the supernatural. We're not going to give you fake scares. We're just going to give you fucking scares.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't rewatched The Conjuring 2 yet, and I think I probably will in like October or something. But like, I particularly remember the sequence early on. I think it's with like a TV turning off and on and whatnot, and it goes for ages.
Yeah.
And then the end is just like the thing basically sat right next to the girl and just like shouts at her, and it's. I really like the sustained scare sequences that these films do. And there's a lot of them in this. There's not an awful lot of respite.
No, there isn't. And there's also not an awful lot of, for a film, and we don't say this often, but for a film that's actually getting on for an hour and 40 minutes, it zips by, but there's not an awful lot of plot.
No.
It literally just is tension building. It's a really, really well crafted film.
Yeah, I mean, I think it gets out just as it's starting. Yeah, just as it's starting to get a bit. They chuck her in that room with the Bible pages, and then you've got the denouement, which is good. So. Yeah, I was really, really, really pleasantly surprised by this, but because Annabelle, I liked Annabelle, I didn't love Annabelle. I wasn't massive on it.
Annabelle felt more like the film that you'd expect it to be.
Yes, that's it. That felt like a lesser spin-off to something else. This is essentially a superior sequel to that lesser spin-off that I think kind of does kind of have its own identity.
Yeah, it certainly does. Yeah.
And just
Um,
the success that the film has had, I think is A, good marketing, B, good release date, but C, the fact that there's some quality stuff in there and people seem to be responding to it.
Absolutely, they quite easily could have launched some kind of deal where they had the Conjuring movies came out in cinemas and the Conjuring universe or Conjuring world or whatever that they are calling it could have been just straight up Netflix films. Quite easily could have done that, but they've not. They've had the courage to just say, do you know what? Fucking hell, it doesn't. This movie doesn't have to do that well to make its money back.
Yeah.
If we get in and we do them for, a decent cost, if we get in recognisable enough stars in the fact that Anthony LaPaglia is a recognisable character actor, Miranda Otto is a recognisable character actor. If we get in that and we get in this one of the crop of these new really top-notch horror directors, because we had this going back 10 years ago, probably longer, 10 12 years ago, where we had the new stars of horror, and it kind of ended up being a bit of a false fucking dawn because you have people like Eli Roth and Rob Zombie and Alexander Jarre and people like that. And they've ended up, between them, they've maybe made 2 or 3 good horror movies. I'm a Rob Zombie fan, but even I'll admit that he's an acquired taste. Whereas there's a little bit of a crop of them coming out at the moment where you're looking at them going, do you know what? These are making genuinely interesting and really sort of well thought out horror movies that aren't just getting by or aren't even attempting to get by on simple gore or sleaze. Like, for instance, Eli Roth tried to just get by on gore and Rob Zombie tries to get by on sleazy gore. So there's that, whereas Annabelle's creation's actually quite gory.
Oh my god, yeah, man. I mean, like, fuck, the Miranda Otto corpse is fucking horrific.
And it does come out of nowhere, and it's not. It's just a bang. It shows you it, and it's a genuinely scary movie. I was quite shocked at how busy I went to see it this afternoon. Well, 12 o'clock, so midday screening.
Yeah,
and it was quite busy in my screening, which I was quite pleasantly surprised by. I expected. I anticipated that I might be the only person in there. And when I got in there and there was maybe 15, 20 people in there, which doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not a lot, but actually for that time of day, it is really. And so I was quite pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah.
And everyone's seen some decent sort of reaction to it. There was no shuffling around. People weren't going to the toilet every 2 minutes. There was a few, and ooh. And there was bits like that from me as well. And I thought that it had some good moments of almost sort of levity as well. The bit where the nun pulls the cover back over to the well and says, "What the hell was that?" And the kid goes, "Who cares? Let's run."
Yeah.
It was very much a well done, kid. You've done the thing that you're supposed to do.
I did like the priest, like at the end, like showing the doll to them. It was like, right, who wants the doll?
Yeah. And then it just gets slammed in the back of the police car.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. I also I was watching the post credits bits going, this is gonna be freaking the shit out of Ian.
Oh right, yeah. I mean, thankfully there wasn't really a jump scare there. I'm looking forward to the nun, and I'm also really not looking forward to the nun.
She appears a couple of times in this movie, doesn't she? She appears in the picture.
Yes, yeah.
Another time she appears briefly for a snapshot.
Yes.
Which scared me. And then she appears in the post credits.
Yeah, I'm really, 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 really not looking forward to the nun.
I'm really fucking looking forward to it.
The experience of watching the nun, I'm really not looking forward to.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, that bit in The Conjuring 2, man, like,
They've got a really fucking creepy character there, and I think because that's the next one that's out next year, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then The Conjuring 3 apparently is happening the year after, or is it next year as well?
I don't think Juan's doing it, so I wouldn't
No.
he's involved. Like he's involved in all of these. It's his production company, Atomic Monster, doing all of this stuff, which is great. But so it's not like Saw, where he just kind of like left them to it after the first one. But yeah, no, it's. One thing I thought was interesting as well. The demon was credited as Joseph Bishara, who was the composer on The Conjuring.
Really?
And like he did the Insidious score as well. I just want to look up if that was the same one. I meant to do that yesterday. Because that's really, really, really fucking weird.
Because he also was the composer on this as well.
Oh, he
No,
was.
it wasn't. It wasn't. Benjamin Wishfire was the composer, wasn't he? Yeah. That's quite weird.
Right, fair play. He's
It's the same
looking dude.
same cinematographer. Max Ian Alexandra is doing the Nun as well.
Oh god. Right. Okay. Fucking hell. Fair play. He plays. Wow. Okay. He's lipstick face demon in Insidious. He's Bathsheba in The Conjuring. Uncredited as demonic figure in Annabelle. Lipstick face demon in Insidious Chapter 3. Demon in The Conjuring 2. And Annabelle demon in this. Fucking hell. Fair play.
Fair play to the guy, yeah.
Because I really like his scores as well. I think he does really good music. But yeah, no, that's really weird.
Yeah, and this is insane, right? So far, and Annabelle Creation's not out everywhere yet. It's still got quite a few territories to open. I think it's only opened UK, Spain, and North America. So far, the Conjuring universe has cost $81.5 million, and worldwide is only 30 shy off $1 billion.
I love it. I fucking love it.
That's impressive. And do you know what else is impressive? How consistently good these movies have been.
Like, so I at least like all of them, and I really like. To be fair, I really like 3 of them.
Yeah, I really like 3 of them. I've been very, very impressed. It is Corin Hardy who is doing the
is the guy who did the Hallow.
The Hallow. I've seen the Hallow, which I've heard good reports, but I've also heard bad reports.
It was okay.
Right.
But
can do more with this.
He does seem to be a proper like horror head, and like he seems legit.
Yeah,
and
it's the same writer, isn't it? That did Annabelle is doing the Nun.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be fair, I trust James Wan. I'm as a producer on this stuff at this point. I think he's doing some good work here, and I would trust his judgment with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the guy's a smart guy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But fuck, man, like, oh god, that's going to really make me nervous, that fucking film.
Yeah.
Oh Christ.
But yeah, I'm a definitely not shit. I'm very glad that I went to see it actually.
Good man.
I'm guessing you're definitely not shit on it as well. And our audience poll came out at definitely not shit 50%.
Okay.
Touching cloth 17%.
Okay.
And shit 33%.
That's mixed.
It is very mixed actually. That I'm surprised at that. But you know, not all bad is what we'd say there.
Yeah.
So Ian, let's do some what we've been watching.
Do we want to do some peaks first, or?
Oh yes, let's do peaks first. Yeah.
Okay, so
Part 14.
I thought it was a good mix of the plotty and the what the fuck.
Yeah, I did as well. To give you an idea, it's Beck's favourite episode of the season so far.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks it's the one that's felt most, or she said that 12 and 13 and 14, but particularly 14, have been the ones that have felt most like episodes of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it's, shit is coming together.
Absolutely, yeah. Which is interesting.
Which is great. I thought it was interesting that there was no Dougie Jones this week, because it feels like the next time we see Dougie Jones is probably going to be...
The last time we see Dougie Jones.
Yeah, it might well be. Or at least, it's going to be Gordon Cole's going to be around. And we'll see where it goes from there. But, fucking, right. Sarah Palmer fucking, taking her face off. And those fucking teeth.
Yeah. That was a very much...
stay with me. That's gonna fucking stay with me. That is.
Yeah, that was very much a... Okay, that's come out of nowhere. Yeah, there's stuff going on there. I thought the incorporation of scenes from Fire Walk with Me was fantastic.
Makes you wonder whether he was thinking all this shit all along. Maybe he wasn't, but
he wasn't. But
I love it.
It was so... The way that they introduced that in the I had a dream about Monica Bellucci again, because I was wondering when I knew Bellucci was going to be in it, and I was wondering when Monica Bellucci was going to turn up, and then when he said I had a dream about Monica Bellucci again, I sort of went, what? And I paused it and just looked at it and went, right, are we about to have Monica Bellucci playing Monica Bellucci, but actually a dream version, a Gordon Cole dream version of Monica Bellucci?
I kind of like to think that Monica Bellucci is actually a member of the White Lodge.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, it was at that point that I said to Bex, right, this has now delved so far into Lynch just being ultimately fucking self-indulgent, but I am absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
It's self-indulgence of the, hang on a minute, you can't bring a real world person into Twin Peaks, but wait a minute, if you're gonna, Monica Bellucci kind of seems like the sort of person that you could bring into it.
Yep, 100%. Yeah. No, a fantastic cameo.
Yeah, it was brilliant, and the bits set around Twin Peaks were, the Andy being transported to the fireman was just startlingly good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. I like that Andy has now seen this shit properly firsthand.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like maybe he's going to be a bit more integral than you think. Even though, just going back to something, has anything ever come of that bit where, that scene where he was talking to that guy and the guy was like you need to leave, I'll be back at 5 or something like that. He's like, fine, but you need to leave right now.
Yeah.
Has anything ever come of that?
Not yet, no.
Right. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Again, like I said last week, I mean, it kind of seems like now, but now after this week's episode, it kind of seems like maybe there's some stuff that maybe there's a couple of plates in the air that just aren't going to be addressed, and maybe it's just unsettling stuff, like the girl with the weird shit on her arm that she kept on scratching.
Yeah.
What is that ever actually coming back? Because we've got 4 episodes left.
We've got 4 episodes left, yeah. But they're clocking in at usually about an hour a bit, some of them.
On Now TV, they're about 55 minutes usually.
55 minutes, yeah. So we've actually got, and I think the last episode is actually a bit longer from what I've read, is that's got about an extra half an hour. So there's actually really an extra 4 and a bit hours left to go.
Yeah.
Which, when you see 4 episodes out of 18, it doesn't seem like an awful lot, but 4.5 hours is, it's a bulk of the first season is still to go. There's a lot they can accomplish in that amount of time. It's like you said, there's an awful lot going on, and I'm wondering how much of it you can get ticked off. I mean, we've not even touched the fact that Jamie E is Diane's half sister.
Yeah, I audibly went, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah.
when that came up. That was great, and so many questions now.
Yeah. Yeah. Does Diane know about this? Does she
Christ,
not?
Diane must have met her fucking husband, surely. I don't know, like, surely? Surely?
Don't know.
Oh, well, but maybe
Maybe
they've
not.
been estranged for that long, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking hell. Yeah. It really is. It's been good. It's now getting to the point where I'm like, this is peaks. It is a proper Twin Peaks, and I'm just I just want it all now. I know I can't have it now, and
Yeah.
it's bothering me. And I have a feeling that it's going to the bits that have bothered me so far when I watch it in essentially one block are not going to bother me anymore, pending on what happens in the next fucking 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still, for the vast majority, pretty high on it. There's been a couple of episodes where I have wondered whether it's been stagnating, but it kind of does feel like, grand scheme of things, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
We just need some proper Dale Cooper before the end.
Yeah, which is still my worry.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it does feel like things are going to happen now. I mean, like, they've got to go to Las Vegas, they've got to get Dougie, and they've got to go back to Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
It feels like Dale Cooper, Bad Cooper, is probably already heading to Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
So, shit is converging.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Yeah. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Cool. What have you been watching, Ian?
This week, what have I been watching? No kids' films this week, which is different. A Ghost Story. I may as well start with that. So, took myself off to see A Ghost Story last Friday. So, this is Casey Affleck with a sheet over his head. It's Rooney Mara eating what appears to be an entire chocolate tart, which is quite something. And it is brilliant. It's fucking fantastic. Story is Rooney Mara and Casey Affleck are a couple. Casey Affleck dies in a car crash. He's in the morgue and he's got a sheet over him. He rises up and he walks back to his house and he observes Rooney Mara and then the passage of time. And there's a monologue about halfway through the film about how you may try and imprint yourself on history, but there's no point because the universe one day will contract into absolutely nothing. And it's a really, really good monologue, and it had me thinking. It is a story about living in the moment and not wishing time to pass and appreciating what you have got with you right now, because once you're gone, your memory may live on, but your memory's not going to live on forever. So why not just focus on those with you and make your time alive as important as possible to your loved ones. Casey Affleck, very good. Unsure how much of him is actually under the sheet.
Apparently, I read that all of it.
Yeah, it's apparently there was some additional shooting where he wasn't available.
That makes more sense, yeah.
But whoever's performing under it, Gets the physicality right.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just like kind of, it's like suddenly for a couple of scenes he's like really bulking because he was like also doing Justice League or something. That'd be
He's got a moustache under it.
yeah, no, straight up, yeah. Nice. Rooney Mara, very good. There's like insights into their relationship, which is interesting because it very much points out that they're not like a perfect couple. This isn't one of the universe's great romances, but this was his great romance, and it does some stuff cinematically which I found like profoundly upsetting. There is a sequence marking the passage of time involving a repeated thing involving someone coming out of like leaving a house out a door, and then at the end that same person entering the house in a very different situation, and the sense of time slipping through your fingers is really, really well done here, and it's really discombobulating. And like it cinematically, it's really, really interesting. It's got shit to say. And it's a film which I think is an awful lot more than what it appears to be on the surface. It is fucking fantastic.
Good.
Yeah, I like it. While it's still out there, people should try and catch it. I don't know. It really, really, really struck a chord.
I'm definitely going to try and catch it before it shifts away.
Yeah, I mean,
from cinemas.
I would like, if you want to not watch Dark Tower or Hitman's Bodyguard like this weekend, so you can catch a ghost story while you still can. I would recommend it. A ghost story will be better than either of those films.
Yes, I have no doubt about that. Living in the house I live in, there's no chance I'm not going to see the Dark Tower, and there's no way I'm not seeing the Hitman's Bodyguard. I might just go do 3 trips to the cinema.
Do it.
I think I'm seeing the. I think I'm seeing Dark Tower on Friday night, so I might do Hitman's Bodyguard. I might do Ghost Story on Saturday and Hitman's Bodyguard on Tuesday anyway. So there we go. Nice. Yes. Cool. I do really want to see it because it does look fantastic.
Nice. Okay, and a couple other things from me. The Three Colours trilogy, I am halfway through the second one at the moment. My first part of the podcast about that is on the Patreon feed, second part and third part coming this week. But yeah, Three Colours Blue is fantastic, and I'm enjoying White so far. So, I also rewatched Rock'n'Roller.
Still never seen this.
I'm not sure how much you'd get on with it, to be honest. But I quite enjoy Rock'n'Roller, and there's a very presumptive title card at the end saying blah blah blah, we'll be back in the real Rock'n'Roller, and then that never happened. Like there was supposed to be a trilogy: Rock'n'Roller, Real Rock'n'Roller, and Rock'n'Roller Star, I think it was. And yeah, they only did the first one. And the thing is, the cast is fucking insane.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, that's a heavy cast.
Yeah, it's mental. I mean, Gerard Butler, Idris Elba, Tom Hardy, very much in a supporting role. So it was before Tom Hardy was Tom Hardy. Tandy Newton. Gemma Arterton is in a small role. Jeremy Piven, Ludacris, Tom Wilkinson, Mark Strong. Like, it's fucking crazy, this cast. It's, it's mental. And yeah, it's fun. It's very entertaining. I have a good time with it. It's kind of asking for nothing more than to be entertaining, and it does that fine. So yeah, Rock'n'Roller. It's on Amazon Prime. And lastly, Naked, which isn't the Mike Leigh film.
Can't you watch this?
So, talking on WhatsApp on Sunday night. I think it was Sunday. Was it? Yeah.
Well, Sunday,
Yeah. And I think you pointed out, or maybe Noel did, that...
I did, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. There's a new Wayans Brothers film on Netflix, and it's a Netflix original. And it's directed by the guy who did the Haunted House films. So, you've got Marlon Wayans. You've got the director of A Haunted House and A Haunted House 2. So the question is, how could I not watch it?
How could you not?
Okay, so, story is... Marlon Wayans is a substitute high school teacher getting married to his fiancée, very successful doctor. Her friends think he's an idiot. Her dad thinks he's an idiot. Her dad invites her ex-boyfriend to the wedding, and he and his mate go out for drinks. He wakes up the next morning in an elevator that has been busted. And he's stark naked. And he's running around trying to work out what's going on. Church bells chime, and then he's transported back to the broken elevator, stark naked, to do it all again. So, it's Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
At a wedding. With Marlon Wayans. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. Netflix are just fucking vomiting stuff out at the moment, it seems.
Yeah.
It's mental. Literally, it was 2 years ago that it was Beasts of No Nation, and it felt like a really big deal that they had, an original film that they bought it, but, it was on Netflix. And now... Netflix have got all sorts of stuff. There's a Nicholas Hoult film that was straight to Netflix. Sandcastle, I noticed the other day. You've got this. I mean, there's a lot of films on Netflix of the Siege of Jadotsville, which stars some notables. It's really, really weird just how many films they've got coming out, and I just how are Netflix justifying a budget for the guy who did A Haunted House to do another film with Marlon Wayans when A Haunted House 2 did as badly as it did? Do
you know why they'll do it? Because they'll look at, right, how many times has A Haunted House been watched on Netflix?
True. Yeah. No. I mean, no. Quite. But no. I mean, that's it. I mean, they look at their metrics and they decide what to put money into. Fair enough. But I don't know, man. It's just they are just vomiting out content at the moment.
Yeah.
And it gets lost in a sea of Netflix.
Yeah, it does. It does. To be honest, it's kind of there's so much coming out at such a regular stage that it's almost becoming a little bit difficult. I mean, fucking hell, it's Death Note out in a week.
Yeah, week Friday.
Yeah, and what happened to Monday's out Friday? They're verging on getting to the point of where it's one every couple of weeks.
I mean, that's the thing. It's all the thing is at the moment as well. It kind of feels like you've almost got the big Netflix ones, and it's almost like a weird straight to VOD Netflix, but it is VOD Netflix and then straight to Netflix or something. There's some sort of weird. Here are the ones we actually give a fuck about, and here are the ones that just appear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is there's what happened to Monday this Friday, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
And next Friday it's Death Note, and then a couple of weeks after that it's First Kid Killed My Father, and then I think the next one after that is Bright.
I mean, fuck, man. There's this Chadwick Boseman one, a Message from the King.
Yeah.
Which looks really good. I'm gonna watch that film. I hadn't had a fucking clue about that until I saw it pop up on my Netflix queue. And it's just what the fuck? Because somebody else is in that as well. Fuck, Alfred Molina, I think. I don't know. It just
Alfred Molina. Luke Evans.
And Luke Evans, that's right. Yeah. So it's hard to keep up. It's really, really hard to keep up. And I know because their whole thing is they essentially want to do away with having to buy in content and just be their own platform, essentially. But it seems unsustainable to me. But you know what? I don't know. What do I know? But yeah. Anyway, Naked. It's fucking rubbish. But of course it is. It's one of those. It's like the Emoji Movie. It's rubbish, but of course it is.
Yeah, it's rubbish. But you know, what did you expect it to kind of be?
I'd had a few drinks. That was the thing, and it was just like, fuck it, go on then. This will be fun to talk about on the show. It's not really.
But I can tell you how they can afford it. They currently have 104 million users, right? So if we go to 104 million, at an average cost of around $6 globally, I think it is something like that. $8, I think it is, right? A month. $832 million a month.
Okay, fair enough.
It's, you know, I think it's staggering how much money that they're making. And there was I read an article a few days ago that basically said that they're billions in debt and everything like this. And then Netflix kind of came out and kind of responded to it by just going, "No, we're not. We're really not."
Yeah.
What it is, that's based on if we continue investing at the same level we are now, but our growth dips at the same level it is, then yes, by 10 years' time, we'll be $30 billion in debt. But we're not going to continue investing at this level.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, what they've done is they've gone big. They're going to go big for 5 years, and then they'll start to scale it back. You know, they're not going to have to pay a big fee to Disney soon to get their stuff because Disney are going to have their own content.
Yes, quite.
You know, and what they're trying to do now is kind of cover that already and get it so that people are investing in the idea of Netflix premieres.
Yes, quite. Yeah, no, I mean that's exactly it. I don't know. It's just let's have a bit more Oakshire and a bit less Naked.
Yeah, that is it. Yeah. Right. Is that all from yourself?
Yep, I'm done, sir. Fire away.
Cool. Right. I have a few. I've had a bit of a hectic week this week, so I've only actually watched a few things. I watched a couple of things which I'm not going to give away for the What the Noir Patreon podcast, which will be out tomorrow, hopefully, fingers crossed. If I can sort my laptop out, my laptop's been a bit funny, and then also been moving memories as well at the same time out. But yes, what have I watched? I rewatched Cape Fear. I've been wanting to rewatch it for a while, and you know that thing that just kind of comes over you where you go, I fancy watching an insert random movie. And I just was driving along to work, and nothing kind of jumped out at me. And I just thought, I fancy watching Cape Fear tonight. And so I messaged Becky and said, do you fancy watching Cape Fear tonight? She's like, yeah, absolutely. So checked to see if it was on any streaming service, and it was on Sky On Demand. So I thought, right, that's it. Recording it to my Skybox, ready for me to go there. Yeah, I really enjoyed Cape Fear. I think it's a cracking movie. It's often kind of considered one of Scorsese's lesser movies, but it's actually one of those where it's got so many little Scorsese flourishes and little.
Oh, he's having so much fun in that film.
He is. It's like he's gone with it and gone, right, I want to make this both scary, kind of stupid, but still fucking really terrifying. And he gives you Nick Nolte, and he puts them up against each other. Nick Nolte's character and Robert De Niro's character, and basically shows them both and goes, look, Nick Nolte, and at the start of the movie essentially says, look, Nick Nolte didn't do his job. In not doing his job, it caused Robert De Niro to have to lose a certain amount of his life to it. Now, whether or not he committed that crime or not, it is kind of immaterial, and it throws in a kind of a thing of the American judicial system, and it throws that in, and it says, so he justifiably has a right to be a little bit pissed off. But can we just mention that he's psychotic?
Yeah.
And incredibly dangerous. And it does it. So at a point, you're starting to be a little bit sorry for him, and then he 2 seconds later, he bites Selena Douglas's face off. And then you go, oh no, wait a minute, he's a terrible bastard.
Yeah.
And then from there, he just continues being a terrible bastard. But at every point where somebody points out to him, you're a terrible bastard, he kind of goes, yeah, I am, but I'm on a fucking revenge mission, and I don't give a shit, because the revenge mission I am on is justifiable. And then you go, I kind of is a little bit, though. Not the level he's going to, but he has every right to be pissed off.
Yeah.
At the same time as having no right at all to being pissed off. And it contains genuinely one of my favourite scenes in cinema, one of my favourite scenes of Scorsese's, where Nick Nolte's character has lamented and decided that he is going to hire some goons to go and rough up Max Cady. And you have them starting to rough him up and you think this is working, and then Max Cady goes into almost like fucking supervillain kind of mode, where he goes, hang on a minute, I've just spent 14 years in prison. Do you think the first fucking 3 guys to fucking jump me? And just takes him out with literally no effort. And then notices that Nick Nolte's there because he hears the trash can move and looks up and he's walking over to him with this and he's just shouting, could you be there at him? And it's De Niro in peak De Niro. Because a lot of the time with De Niro nowadays, it's kind of like, it's easy to throw accusations to De Niro that he's only doing it for money and stuff like that, and he kind of is. There is that. But he's still often quite good in stuff nowadays, but he's still always Robert De Niro playing that person, whereas this was still at the point where you've got him creating characters. And then he goes off into this weird diatribe where he starts essentially preaching the fact that he's become more than human. And then he continues doing that from that point. And you kind of start almost believing that he has in some way tapped into a different level that people aren't on. But it isn't. He's just fucking nuts. And it is honestly, it is such a fucking good time, is Cape Fear. Because essentially it's Nick Nolte and Jessica Lange and Juliette Lewis being batshit scared of Robert De Niro because they should be batshit scared of Robert De Niro because he's mental.
Nice.
It's a fucking great time. I think it should be remembered a lot more fondly than I think it is, Cape Fear, because I think it's a really fucking cracking movie. And I put it up there with things like Shutter Island. It's not top level Scorsese. It's middle-level Scorsese. But middle-level Scorsese is still better than most people will ever fucking achieve.
Straight up.
Yes, thoroughly enjoyed that. I also watched a film called The Babysitter, a Guy Ferland movie from the mid-90s. And Guy Ferland he's not like a name director that'll jump out, but he's mostly a television director. But he did direct things like he's done episodes of The Walking Dead, he's done episodes of House, he's done episodes of Nip Tuck, Prison Break, Damages, The Blacklist, The Shield, Sons of Anarchy, The Strain, the Guillermo del Toro TV series. So he's quite an accomplished kind of like, you might recognise his name because you've seen things that he's done like that, but he's not really done many films. But The Babysitter stars Alicia Silverstone, Jeremy London, Nicky Katt, and JT Walsh. Have you ever seen this?
No, but that's a hell of a fucking 90s cast.
It is an
Jesus
incredible
Christ.
90s cast. Right, I'm going to paint you a fucking picture
Do
right
it,
now.
do it. Use those words.
Right. Alicia Silverstone, in peak Alicia Silverstone, plays Jennifer, who is a teenager and she's the babysitter. She is hired by J.T. Walsh and Lee Gartlington to be the babysitter for their kid for the night because they're going to a party hosted by a wealthy family in the town that they live in. So she's brought in there. At the same time, she's having problems with her boyfriend, who you kind of get the feeling that they're kind of broken up, but they're not broken up, played by Jeremy London. And he's off doing his thing. And Nicky Cat has taken a shine to her, but she's kind of shunning his advances. Nicky Cat happens to previously have been best friends with Jeremy London's character, but now they don't really talk to each other. And the party that J.T. Walsh has gone to is at his parents' house. Now, everybody seems to have this obsession with Alicia Silverstone, including J.T. Walsh, Jeremy London, and Nicky Cat. Now, the whole film is kind of told through almost fantasies of what J.T. Walsh character wishes was happening, what Jeremy London's character wishes was happening, and what Nicky Cat's character wishes was happening. And then also what Lee Garlington's character wishes was happening as well at the party. But Alicia Silverstone's is always what is actually happening. So J.T. Walsh thinks that he's going to go back and seduce her by being just dashing and debonair and what is it. And then you've got Jeremy London thinks that he's going to go there, and at one point he thinks that they're going to make up and she's going to be really glad that he's gone there. But then he also starts panicking that Nicky Cat's moving in and that she's got a thing for Nicky Cat, so he starts getting paranoid about that. And so his fantasies start including Nicky Cat. And it all starts to start melding into just being a bit fucking mad.
Right.
It is incredibly mid-90s in the way it's done. It's only 90 minutes, so it gets its shit done and gets the fuck out. It gets a little bit dark towards the end, a little bit darker than it maybe has any right to get at that point. It kind of takes a turn where you go, oh, so this is happening. Okay, this feels a little bit darker than the rest of the movie's been, but all right. Alicia Silverstone is perfect casting.
Sounds it.
Nicky Cat is perfect casting, playing the douchebag troublemaker.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy London is perfect casting, and J.T. Walsh is perfect casting. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great.
On Netflix, I believe. It would be a good treadmill movie.
Okay, cool. That's good. Always looking for those.
Yeah, so I'd say that. The only other thing I watched this week was I also, in a sleep-filled haze last night because I couldn't get to sleep, just flipped on Sky, and you know that thing where you flick something on just to watch something for 10 minutes?
Yep, sure.
And then end up watching the entire fucking movie. I did that with Mr. Deeds last night.
Oh, why? Why did you do that?
I actually quite like Mr. Deeds.
Okay.
It literally was just kind of starting, and I thought, yeah, fair enough. That'll do. It'll kill kind of like 20 minutes, half an hour of just kind of like letting it wash over me, and it'll be all right. Of course, directed by Steve Brill of Without a Paddle and Sandy Wexler fame. I actually don't dislike Mr. Deeds. I actually have a kind of soft spot for it. I think it's one of Sandler's middle career films that was actually quite entertaining in some ways. It's crap, but it is quite entertaining in the fact that I laugh mostly at John Turturro in that movie.
Well, I'm glad you laugh.
Yeah, I probably am one of the only people that fucking laughs at Mr. Deeds, but hell, I laughed at it. So I also watched Mr. Deeds through from about 1 in the morning to about 3 in the morning last night.
Fucking hell, fair play.
I know. So yeah, so that's it. That's what I've watched. So I think we do have a question this week.
Oh, sweet, do we? Oh,
Yes,
very good.
Andrew Jones
Oh,
at
nice.
Eastern runs on Twitter. Is it better to directly adapt a book or take elements from it? Also, second question, I think this kind of is. King novels, are they good sources?
King novels are the good sources, sure. Yep. Um, better to. I don't know. To be fair, I think it. I think either are fine as long as the film's good. You judge the
Uh,
film on its own merits, like.
I think it is. I think it all depends on what you're planning on doing. If it's a book written about a specific story, I think you kind of um, it's difficult, isn't it? I suppose really because again, I think you've got to judge, like you say, on the actual book itself, because on the actual film itself, because some will take elements of bits and kind of create a film of itself and say this is based upon this. The Coens have done it a number of times, um, and then you'll get actual ones where it's a direct adaptation. I think if you're going to call something a direct adaptation and you change too much in it, then yeah, you might as well have just said it's inspired by or based upon. Then yeah, I can definitely see that point. I think if you're going to make a story, a film of a book, you make the film of the fucking book. But then again, there've been some very good films that have come out of ideas from books. Shining, for instance,
Sure.
is a prime example there. You know, referring back to the King one. Yeah, King. There's been a lot of bad movies made of Stephen King books. Certainly, I think that was more a kind of a theme of the 80s in the fact they could get the rights to them for quite a reasonable price. Partially because Stephen King really liked cocaine, so he needed a lot of money to continue really enjoying cocaine, and so you know there was a lot of shitty movies made. But actually, there's less than you'd think, to be honest.
Mm.
You know, there's for every shit one, there's often actually a couple of decent ones. I mean, just going through the list of Stephen King movies that we've had, you know, Carrie, The Shining, Creepshow, The Dead. I'm just going to go through the very perceived to be good ones. The Dead Zone, Christine, Stand By Me. I'm going to call the fucking Running Man. I don't care what fucking people say, but the Running Man. Misery, Shawshank Redemption. Dolores Claiborne is a perfectly decent movie. At Pupil, Green Mile,
Yep.
Hearts in Atlantis, Dreamcatcher is a good movie. I think 1408 is a good movie. The Mist. You know, we've got that's like half of them, and I'm leaving out some that are perfectly watchable.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the bad tends to be like direct to video stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was all we had from questions this week, I believe. Yes. What are we covering next week, Ian?
Okay, so I mean, we're both definitely seeing Dark Tower.
Yeah,
We're both definitely seeing Hitman's Bodyguard.
yeah,
So, Dark Tower and Hitman's Bodyguard.
yeah. That seems like the most likely thing. Yes. Right. I think we kind of wrapped up the end of the show there. To be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. No, we kind of got through it quick in the end there, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you know, but we hope it was still enjoyable. So, Ian, what have you got coming up on the Patreon
Oh
page?
yeah.
Week?
So I'm gonna finish the Three Guys trilogy as part of my look through the Sight and Sound top 250, and then I'll have a new one of those the next week. We need to like draw the next commentary track, I think.
We do. Yes.
But we'll sort that out over the next few days.
Yeah.
Damn You Football just went out, didn't it?
It did indeed, yeah. Daniel Football just went out. It's probably going to go out every Monday night or every Tuesday night, depending upon if there's a Monday night fixture. Is what I'm going to try and do there. It might not always be an hour long. I literally set out yesterday to kind of make it a half an hour long show, and it was literally bang on a fucking hour. So. So it was that. It will literally be just for how much I can waffle on. It will often just be a rundown of kind of like the events of the footballing week, I suppose. In that, I hope people who who enjoy football are enjoying that. It's kind of weird to record it. I do feel like I'm kind of like shouting at myself sometimes.
Nah, man, fuck that noise. It's good.
Good, I'm glad people are enjoying it. So there's that, and the other Patreon bits, because that's the free show still, Damn You Football, that we will have is, I've got the What the Noir, which should be going live, like I say, hopefully tomorrow, if not it'll be the latest, it'll be Friday, and Another Movie Memories, which is a good one actually, it's a cracking one. There's almost a little story that goes with the one I'm going to do on this one. It's quite I'm going to take on a journey through my mind and through my childhood with this one. Yeah, and I also rewatched the movie to do it as well. So I'm looking forward to recording that actually.
Very good, very good.
Cool, right, so that was episode 220. Dudeandmonkey.com, at Dudeandmonkey, at Ian Loring, at DudeFoz, Patreon / Dudeandmonkey. Anything else I've forgotten there, Ian?
Don't think so, buddy. Good show. Nice one.
Cool. Yes, I hope you enjoyed it, and we shall be back next week. Thank you very much for listening, guys.
Bye-bye.